Hey. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Noontime My Time podcast. It's Tuesday. So we're going to talk it out Tuesday with Tori and Miss Tonya. Yes, that's what today is. And we've got a really nice discussion that we want to have here today. And I think it's a discussion that we should definitely be having. We're talking about fatherhood. Fatherhood matters. The impact of fatherless Black families. That's a serious issue in our community. Fatherhood matters. We got to talk about that impact of fatherless Black families. That's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into the conversation, you know what we got to do? It's noontime and it's our time. It's my time. Be selfish with yourself. We get ready to recalibrate. Want to take a moment for ourselves. We want to do a little bit of breath work. Get a little bit of that frustration off of us. All right? So let's do it. What I want you to do is inhale to the count of 4. And we're going to hold it for a few seconds. And then we're going to exhale. And we'll hold that for a few seconds. And we'll repeat that a few times. Now, you can close your eyes if you're in a place that you can do that. I don't want you to do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're actually sitting at the desk. If you got your headpods on and you're taking a listen, we'll vibrate with us and listen. But if you can close your eyes, close your eyes. You want to take it a step further, put your hands over your heart and feel that you are alive. That's you. Let's get into it. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. One more time. Let's inhale. Hold it a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. Doesn't that feel great? Go ahead. Relax your shoulders. You know, we carry a lot of that tension right there in our shoulders, right around our neck area. So just relax your shoulders a bit. Relax your jaw a little bit. All right? I want you to feel good. That's what this is about. Feeling good, feeling better, healing ourselves, having conversations that are going to make a difference in our life. And today we have a topic that we definitely need to discuss in the Black community. It's important. Fatherhood matters. The impact of fatherless Black families is a very serious challenge in our communities. So we're going to talk about it. It's Talking Out Tuesdays with Tori and Miss Tonya. So I got to bring Tori into the podcast. How you doing, Tori?
What it do? What it do? It's Tuesday again already?
Already. Yeah.
What it do? I'm feeling so relaxed after the breathing exercise. So I'm ready to get into the topic today.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel a little relaxed. I do. And I like feeling that way because sometimes we have some topics that they could be triggering for some people. They could be some hot button type of topics, but certainly they are things that we should be discussing. And I feel like this is a good one, you know? So I
Absolutely.
want us to go ahead and get into it because we got to be honest. You know, the discussion about the challenges that we face as Black families without fathers is a really serious issue, and it affects our children. It affects our communities, right?
Right.
Um, so I want to just kick off the conversation, and I was doing a little research, you know, because there's statistics out there. They're out there, and there's been a lot of people who have been making comments about it. There are a lot of people talking about it. A lot of people talking about it who don't look like us. And really, that's what made me think about, okay, I'm watching people talk about this. Why aren't we talking about it? So I want to find some people who are talking about it like us, and I want to talk about it. So, what I want to do is I want to share a video, and I think I'll let the video speak for itself, and then we'll just have a conversation after that. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right. All right, all right, all right. So, basically, here I was looking up fatherless generations, and I came across this video from Larry Elder. Good conversation. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that play, and we'll talk.
Then is just as true as now. Watch this.
We have adopted some wrong standards. We are judging our men many times by the wrong value system. We are using his children sometimes against him. We have been told that the only benefit that a black man provides in a home is money. And if he does not give us money to take care of those kinds of financial provisions, that he has no value. And what my research has proven to me is that a black man, any man in any home provides much more than financial support. The man provides guidance, instruction, discipline for the children, which we sorely need in our black homes. He provides gratification, fulfillment, protection. I mean, there's so many other values. And these values are the ones that are missing in our children today, which is why many black children are in the street, out of control themselves, disrespectful, don't have any regard for anyone. And most of us are scared of them, and everybody else is, because nobody has a way into them to try to gain any control over them. So I maintain that a return to traditional family values, certain clearly defined gender responsibilities for black men and black women in running a home and a relationship will help us to produce a better child. And if we produce a better child, certainly we'll have a better future and a better nation. Unfortunately, as I say, since money has been used as the measure, many times if a black man does not have money to give us, we won't even let him see his children. We won't let him spend any time with it because he does not give us whatever the child support is. And I'm not saying that we don't need money to raise a child, but I try to explain to black women that raising a child consists of much more than feeding, clothing, and sheltering it. That's maintaining one. To raise one, you need a return of the parental coalition of the father and the mother to put the proper values into the child. Many of our boys, when we raise them alone, they grow up with the female emotional mechanism. They are suspicious, they are doubtful, they're disrespectful of womanhood, they are bitchy, they can't make a decision. And many of our girls who grow up in a home where there's no man present, they go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have any idea how to live with a man day to day, how to prepare a proper meal, how to be a mother, how to just be in love in the home. Most of what our people and our children especially have learned about how you have a relationship, they learned off of television. And television doesn't represent our needs. And so a lot of the confusion has come, from outside agencies that we have not recognized how detrimental it has been to us as a people.
Wow, you dig?
Ooh.
We're gonna stop right there for a minute.
Ooh.
Talk to me.
I wasn't ready for that one. I didn't see that video. I was prepared to see another video, but ooh, she said a lot. But
You
I
said a
agree.
lot.
Yeah, I like her though. I love her. And she's always spoke the truth. And I agree with what she's saying. I
Mhm.
totally agree with everything that she said. She's always speaking facts. She's always speaking facts. So that was
Right.
really good.
Yeah. Let me ask this question because there's facts that she spoke, but there's a lot of people who feel like, they would. You've got women who take offense to what she said, and I mean, it's the truth. I don't think that any woman or any single mother, for that matter, chooses necessarily to be that way. I don't think that that's like, well, let's put it like this. That isn't the ideal dream. That isn't something that you dream of. I think that it becomes a situation of circumstance, right?
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
my opinion. But why is it that we know that if you become a single mother, that it may be from that situation of circumstance? Why can't we be honest about the fact that having a father in the home is important? It is ideal. That is the ideal way to raise a child, raise a family. What is your thought on that?
It is the ideal way, but unfortunately, that is not always the case because you have marriages that break up. You have parents that the father could possibly pass away, and you do have fathers that absolutely that choose not to be there. So, it is the ideal way, that we should raise our children, but it's not always the case. So, but and then a lot of things that um she said in regards to, like I said, I agree, but that's not my story. I am blessed to say that I have when she was saying that the children are disrespectful, I am blessed to say that I do have male role models for my son because I am a single parent. It's just me and my son at home, but I do expose him to positive male role models, and
Mhm.
I am fortunate and I'm blessed that my son is very humble. He's not a disrespectful child, and he knows. You know how a lot of times some children get out of place. He knows to always respect adults and respect authority. So I'm blessed and fortunate that I have that type of child.
Okay.
But what she said is a lot because I've seen other cases where the children are disrespectful. I've
Well,
seen it
here's the
with my
thing.
own eyes. Yeah.
Here's the thing, and I think this is the larger issue, and I mean, I just feel like this is the larger conversation that we should be having. I
Hmm.
mean, obviously, there are going to be different situations and circumstances, and it's not so much about single mothers who are doing their best or being or defending our position in our situation. It's not so much that, but it is really about just owning the fact that ideally, ideally, it would be great to have a two-parent home. Situations like you brought up several reasons and situations that may not end up being the case. We get that. But we've got to be honest about that fact that fatherless homes is not the way to go. We've got to look at the fact that maybe, and there are people who have there are people who are conspiracy theorists, but let's let some numbers speak for themselves as well. But if you look at how the government has set up assistance for single mothers, you gotta admit that it has really ruined our Black families a lot. It has, because what it has done, they've really successfully managed to get women to accept government finance, and basically they accept all of the needs that they have are being supported by the government. So basically, it's pushed the father out of the home. It makes them feel like they don't need him. The relationship becomes unnecessary. Um, And raising a child is about more than money. It's about more than feeding them. It's about more than the maintenance as you know that. So, how do you feel about the historical context of what the government has done, what the government does, continues to do? They really kind of advocate for fatherless homes.
I'm taking. I was listening to everything that you were saying. I have a difference of opinion. I can only go by my experience.
Okay.
I feel like the assistance is there for those that need it, but I have a difference of opinion. I don't feel that, and this is just me. This is my opinion, and we're different on this, but I don't feel like it's advocating to me. I feel like it's there if it's needed. And like I said, I can only speak from my experience that some of us have to do what is necessary in order for us to raise our child.
Oh,
But
absolutely. Well,
yeah.
again, I started there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Women are gonna do what they have to do. A mother is gonna do what she has to do to take care of her child.
And see, here's my take as well. I've seen situations where both parents was in the home and it
Oh,
wasn't a
sure.
good situation.
I
And the reason why I say that is because I've seen situations where yes, the fathers matter and they are necessary, but sometimes um in some situations it's better that the father is absent and not present, because I've seen situations where the father was in the home and the child witnessed the father being abusive to the mother. So yes, the two parent household is ideal, but sometimes it's not the best situation for that child, because the parent is one, or
mhm,
and sometimes, and I've seen both sides where the mother is abusive to the father. I've seen where the father is abusive to the mother. So even though it's ideally, because like you said earlier, we shouldn't focus on the money because it takes more than just money to raise a child. But some
Absolutely.
situations I've had people witness. I've actually had somebody to actually call me a couple of weeks ago in regards to how they, even though they had two parents in the home, how detrimental it was to them that they grew
Well,
up
hear
to
this.
become a
Hear
broken
this.
adult.
We're
Mhm.
we're we're not arguing that. We get
Okay.
that. And
Okay.
that's why I feel like we need to have this honest conversation because we started out talking about fatherless homes, and then we
Mhm.
started talking about how two-parent homes are not necessarily the best homes as well. Now
Mhm.
we know this. We do.
Mhm.
But it's so easy for us to slip out of what is in front of us and to defend ourselves and our situations that we talk, we kind of get off subject. You know, we do that often. We know that there's parents, two-parent homes that aren't good and they end up in a broken family situation. We do. But we gotta stay focused on what's going on in these fatherless homes because I feel like a lot of the times, it's just like a continuous cycle. You've got kids who are growing up without fathers, and then they're becoming fathers and not being fathers to their child. And it's just a continuous cycle, and it happens over and over in our community. And the statistics grow substantially. Like, I'm going to play a video a little bit later that are going to give some of the statistics because I don't remember all of the statistics right on the top of my head, but I just know from the 1960s where it was at a much lower rate, like maybe 5% of fatherless homes in the Black communities, up until now, where it's over 70% of our homes, Black family homes, are fatherless. That's a problem. So I don't feel like talking about like there are some parents who there are two-parent homes that may not be well. Yes, but the percentage of that is so low. Let's talk about this over 70% of fatherless homes that we need to have children having better opportunities, keep them from behind bars, keep some of these guns out of their hands, lower some of this anxiety, let men teach men how to be men. We're not having that conversation. And I want to stop for a minute because I see that we have some people who are coming through in the comments, and I think we should kind of acknowledge some of what they're saying if you want to read what they're talking about.
Sure. Piece of Cake says, yes, in some regards, the lack of understanding of the importance of a father's presence beyond financial support has led to an increase of single female parent homes. And she also says, sometimes we're using, is it outlier situations of successful female single parenting or the toxic two parent homes to promote an idea that fathers aren't needed. Now, in regards to
Yeah.
that, I was just making a point, but
No,
fathers are definitely needed. I'm not saying they're
absolutely.
not needed. I was just making a point based on my experience. So,
Yeah, and that's what we're gonna do. And and I mean, why wouldn't we? We can only speak from our experiences, right? But
yeah,
I
yeah,
know that it's important for us to talk about the subject at hand. We've got a serious problem. What like just locally here where I'm living, and you're within
yeah,
that local area too. There are so many things going on with young men, right? And
absolutely. Hey, Jamel, what up? Jamel says,
yeah,
I'm here.
we see that.
And Genesis, what's up, Genesis? Good afternoon to you as well. And
And to
then Piece of
continue that,
Cake.
there's a lot going on with these young men. There are so much gun violence going on, and it's like day after day. Every week, I am hearing about a young person in some type of gun violence. What's going
Yeah,
on? Is that a I think fatherless homes has a lot to do with that issue. Now, I don't know the family dynamics of all of these young people, but I am pretty sure within whatever has happened in that situation, that there are a number of men, young men, who are in fatherless homes. Because if the rate is over 70% in the community, it's got to be an
mm,
issue.
yeah, this is true.
It's
Piece of
got to
Cake had
be.
another comment. Can we read that last comment? She said, father figures are absolutely needed. Developmentally, fathers contribute to different aspects of the child's growth in terms of confidence, understanding of boundaries, growth, mindset, goals. That's true.
Right.
That's very true. I totally
I
agree.
agree. I agree with that.
And Genesis says parents have a lot to do with these issues, my opinion. Ooh, I agree with that. Ooh, Jesus. I agree with that. I agree with that
Okay.
totally. Yeah.
Talk to me.
And Malik had a comment too. Put that comment up there right quick. Malik says the pain of the truth is what has hindered many sisters from admitting it. Meanwhile, the I don't need a man mindset has become indoctrinated into young women and men before they even get to grow. Young men leave the home knowing they aren't valued. Ooh, that's
Oh, wow.
good. And it's funny that
Listen.
he said that. I was just talking to my brother about that yesterday. I just told him yesterday, I said, I will never be that woman that says, I don't need a man. Right now, I'm doing what I have to say, but you would never hear Tori say that I need a man. And I hate when I hear women say that because
Yeah.
men are needed. And I'm that person that I recognize, the men that I know are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and even men that are doing good things in the community. I'm that girl that I'm going to inbox you, let you know you are valued, you're loved, you're appreciated, you matter. I'm that.
Well, guess
God,
what? I mean, that's
yeah,
that's great. That's
yeah,
really great that you can be that woman, you know?
yeah.
But we don't
But
have a lot of Tories out
Tanya,
here.
there's a lot that are not like me.
Exactly. That's my point. There's not a lot of Tories out
Woo.
here. A lot of them
Mm,
are, of that mindset of I don't need a man. And they've got
mm.
kids in the home and the kids are hearing that. They're hearing that through their
Yes.
conversation. They're seeing that in their lifestyle. And so if you've got a boy in that home,
Mhm.
he already has no value. He already feels like, okay, well, women don't need men because he's being raised by a mother who doesn't have his father in the home, right? So
Right.
I really can understand with what Malik is saying here, where he says, that mindset is indoctrinated into young men and women. So before they even get to grow, they
Mhm.
already, are in this mindset of a man doesn't have to be in the home. You know,
Right. Right. Right.
It really
Absolutely.
is an issue. I see Piece
Mm.
of Cake has a comment.
She says, yes, men with good communication skills are really good at conflict resolution. Fathers can help teach youth emotional regulation. This would prevent violence among youth, some of the gang violence. And she
Yeah.
also had another comment as well,
Well, I
followed
wanna
by that.
we're gonna get to that, but I wanna say something. She's right. She said, that's where some of that gang violence is stemming from, and it is because, they don't have that male figure in the home, and then, they've got the streets out there, and they're feeling, you know, that that bond with other men, and so that's how they get hooked into it, you know? Uh,
Mhm.
you can go ahead with her next comment.
And she says is directly correlated to anger and resentment of growing up without the nurturance guidance of a father figure. Oftentimes they substitute in it with the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what we're saying. I,
Yeah.
um, I kinda want to play a little bit more of that video because, the Larry Elder Show is a good show. If you guys are not following him online, I wanna introduce you guys to some Black podcasters who are putting up content that I think we need to be listening to besides some of the spilling the tea type of stuff, the gossipy, all of the entertainment stuff is there. But, we've got people who are having conversations, and I feel like we need to be listening to it. So let's go in here and listen to a little bit. I'm gonna start the video again and let it play.
Mic drop. And rapper Tupac Shakur said this.
I know for a fact that had I had a father, had I had somebody, and I hate saying this because white people love hearing black people talk about this, but had I had a father, had I had some of these opportunities, I'd have been able to help my mother more. She wouldn't have went the road she went. I could have been a better son. You know what I'm saying? She wouldn't have went that road. It was the absence of my father, You know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with him being daddy not being there. My mother's dealing with him being my man not being there. You know, so many problems in our community that affect everything.
You dig?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Ooh.
mean, that's really what's going on in our community, and we got to be honest about that, you know?
Right, right. Absolutely. And y'all know
Yeah,
I
It's time for
love
me to get
Tupac.
set up for therapy, and I use this room.
All right, we
Oh,
got
I
some more
was,
comments
I was,
here.
Genesis says, I feel that lots of parents that conceive children at a young age fall victim of being best friends to their children. Mothers more so than present fathers. If you look at the ratio of the children committing these violent crimes are being raised by their best friend. Some are afraid of the children. Some women are quick to push their daughters off on men, so their child becomes not their responsibility. Ooh,
Ooh,
that's good. That's really
that,
good.
that's a lot to unpack there. She put a lot into that.
Ooh, and I tell my son that all. I said, I ain't your friend.
Right. We're not your
That's true
friend.
though. That's true. That's true. Because you have some parents that do things with their children, whether it be going out to places, certain places that you shouldn't be going with your children, certain things you should not be entertaining with your children. You have to be a parent first. Now, I just don't believe, I never believed in that. Of course, you're gonna have, conversations, friendly conversations with your children, but I tell my son all the time, I'm not your friend. I am your mother, and you're gonna respect me as your mother. But some get too comfortable with doing things with their children that they should not do, and I'm gonna leave it at that because I can go a little
Mhm.
deeper, but I'm not gonna do that today.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, that's why we're having the conversation because I feel like people are trying so hard not to hurt people's feelings. It's like we're tiptoeing around the situation. No, we can't tiptoe around this. We're watching a generation of young people fall victim to things that we can course correct. We can course correct this when we have the conversations, when we build a foundation around them so that we can be better parents, so that we can find better mentors, so that we can find better ways of raising them without being angry, without being resentful. We can do that. I know that we can, but if we don't have the conversation, then what's going on is going to continue to happen. There has to be some solutions out there. We can come up with some strategies. We can address some of these issues. But if we're not willing to talk about it, then the same thing is going to happen. And the government isn't really here to help us. Yeah, they're going to give you some type of monthly stipend. You're going to get some type of food stipend, food stamps, whatever is available. But is that really what you want? Is that yeah, the system is there to help someone who is in need, but it's not to help you your whole life. It's not to happen and to be generational. Like you grow up a child of welfare and you become a mother of welfare, and then your children become a mother of welfare. And that's just generation after generation after generation. So, how can you tell me that that is there to help when it has become a cycle? I think there's something that we need to look at. What do you think?
That's true. Everything you said is true. Very true. Very true. I agree with a lot of things that you said just now. Malik said, I saw a video of a baby and a mother and a father at a table eating. The baby fell. The mother jumped up to grab the baby. The father stopped her and pointed to the chair to let his son know to get in the seat. The baby tried and struggled. Again, the mother jumped to try to aid her baby. Again, the father pointed to the chair and the boy tried again and got in the chair. I cried. I got it all without one word. Ooh, that's
Woo!
deep. That's
Come
deep.
on. Yeah. You know why that's deep?
Mm,
Because as a mother, we come here with that emotional tie, and that's what we do, and it's a good thing that we come with that, because when that baby is born and comes into the world, you really have to do everything for this life.
mhm.
And a kid is there. It's not the easiest thing to do. It can be frustrating. You hear a lot of the time women who go through postpartum type of situations because it's just a lot. But because it is in us, that mothering nature is in us, we have that love. That's how we're going to be. But that's not allowing that child to be resilient. So when I hear that the father's there, I'm like, okay, obviously the kid was not damaged, uh, in a situation that calls for an emergency because the father could see that and he's like, okay, he points to the chair and the child needs to get in the seat. The mother wants to help. But is that helpful? And how helpful is it? It would be helpful if the kid was bleeding, if it was some type of emergency, yes. But it isn't that clearly. But dad is there, the father is there. And he's teaching the kid, okay, you fell. Okay, get up. That's teaching resilience. That's that tough skin. That's get up and take care of yourself. No words
Right.
needed. I mean, just hearing that, just hearing Malik
Mhm.
describe that
Mhm.
proves the point that we're talking about, right?
Right. 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 Piece of Cake says become autonomous enough to navigate adulthood. But I agree. I'm not treating myself or my child as if we're peers and on the same level. Mm,
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. Amina also says that, and that's why fathers are needed. Men provide balance and boundaries to our over nurturance at times. Yeah, because we can't overdo it. And it's out of love. No
Mhm.
mother is trying to ruin their kid, and particularly when you're trying to love them. But it may
Yeah.
not be the best method of teaching them something. They need
Right.
to have some type of resilience. They need to know that, hey, I fell. I need to get up. I got to
Mhm.
get up. And just that little thing, that little lesson, without any words, that was something that mama couldn't do, was what he's
Absolutely.
saying here.
Malik says it becomes even more horrific when we know this was a plan to do what is actually being done, and we still do it.
I think he's now, correct me if I'm mistaken because, this comment is coming up a little late, but I think that he may be talking about, government assistance, right? Um, that we know that assistance was really a plan. They wanted to break up the family. There's a lot of people I've heard a lot of conversations and discussions about people who feel like, "Hey, the government assisted program in the black family was to break up the black family." Because the idea the mother could only get the assistance if the man was not in the home, right? So
Right.
there's something to that. There's something to that that we have to admit. There's something to that that we have to acknowledge. And like I said, yes, the assistance is there because you need the help, right?
Mhm.
I don't think it should be helping you generation after generation after generation. Is that helpful?
No. Malik says, "Old man in the barbershop." Aha.
Yeah, that's not. These government assistance programs, I don't know if they're helping or if they're hindering the black family, and I think that's a question that we need to be asking. Don't you?
Right. 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 Absolutely.
Yeah. There's too many
Absolutely.
negative effects because that same assistance that we're talking about, right? It
Mhm.
never seems to get these people out of poverty. It
Right.
doesn't. We're not seeing it. It continues to
Right.
grow. Because if not,
Right.
why is it that, from the 60s all the way to now, fatherless homes have continued to increase? Why is
Mhm.
that? Why do we continue to see so much violence in our neighborhoods? And why is a
Mhm.
lot of that violence in the neighborhoods? Why is it that a lot of these children happen to be in fatherless homes? There has to be a correlation, and we have to have the conversation. We have to be willing to admit right in front of us what's going on. We can't talk about the few of us who are doing things that, and I don't know necessarily that any parent does anything that is completely right if we're going to be honest about being a parent, but we're not talking about the successes because those numbers are they're few. It's not the minority. I'm sorry, it's not the majority, right?
Mhm. Right. You're right.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wanna play a little bit more of this video because this video is hey, listen, it gets deep. It really does get deep. Let me bring it into the stream. All right. Um,
Here's Denzel Washington.
Well, it starts in the home. You know, if the father's not in the home, the boy will find the father in the streets. Yeah, I saw it in my generation and every generation before me and everyone since. It starts in the home. You know, if the streets raise you, then the judge becomes your mother and, you know, and prison becomes your home.
whoa. Whoa. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm.
said the judge becomes your mother and the prison becomes your home. You dig?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Malik
Wait a
says,
minute.
then in 96, they changed the law where anyone who has a drug charge can't get assistance.
Now, I'm not
Wow.
familiar with this. So are you talking about are these the mothers you're talking about?
And maybe he said anyone who has a
Well,
drug charge.
okay. The reason why I asked if it's the mothers you're talking about because do fathers get assistance?
I think some fathers do. He said anyone. Yeah, he says anyone.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask another question because see, this isn't something that I know about. So
Mhm.
when you say anyone, so does that mean that the father of the children
Yeah.
or let's see, how
Them-
am I wording this? So does that mean that if the father has a drug charge and he's still not in the home, that the mother doesn't receive?
No, he's saying that there's father homes. There are single fathers as well. There are some homes where the father is raising the children. So if that father has a drug charge, he cannot receive assistance if he needs it. So that's what he
Ah,
mean by anyone, because there are some single father homes as well.
I
Because I
mean,
know,
I'm aware that there are single fathers home.
yeah,
Let's be clear about that. I'm not
yeah,
thinking that there
yeah,
isn't. I did not know that single fathers had access to government assistance. I didn't think that
yes,
that was a thing. I didn't know.
yes, absolutely, yes,
Hmm,
hmm, yep,
interesting.
yep.
Wow.
Because there's some mothers that are paying child support
I
as
know
well.
that, but it
Yeah.
it it really because this is the first time I'm hearing this, it
Hmm.
really has me, shocked here a bit to hear that there are single fathers who are on government assistance. I did not know that. I didn't know that was a thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Amina says, after a while, the help has become detrimental and a hindrance for sure. I also think the increase of men sitting out or not performing comes from males no longer having an understanding of their roles and the importance of men. I have also noticed that the absence of fathers can contribute to women operating in more masculine roles, whereas males are becoming more feminine. I
Ooh,
agree.
there's so much here to unpack. There
Yeah.
is. She says here that, she's talking about that assistant becoming detrimental and it really is a hindrance. It is because it's not allowing people to kind of become resilient or there doesn't seem to be incentives for them to get out there and kind of do it without that assistance, you know?
Hmm.
Because I feel
Yeah.
like at some point there has to be something in you that says, okay, well, yeah, I needed this assistance. I needed to figure out how I could get on my feet. I'm all for getting on your feet.
Hmm.
Sometimes we get that in a way of a family member or being able to come back home or whatever that case may be. Just that opportunity of being able to get on your feet. Yeah, all of us, many of us have probably been in situations like that. However, I would like to think at some point you want to kind of be able to handle things on your own. You know, you
Hmm.
gotta
Hmm.
you gotta want to do that. And I feel like the situation where the government is coming in and helping women and they get on this system and they get there and they get comfortable and they stay there. Well, I feel like it makes men feel like, well, they already know she's getting what she needs, so what do they have to do? So that makes them stay away. That's not really an incentive for them to be this man to say, okay, you know what? I got to make sure my kids got food to eat. I got to make sure my kid has whatever they need. I need to make sure that the lights are on. Well, if the government is doing that, maybe he's feeling like, hey, I don't have to be there. And certainly if he's doing that, I'm if the government is doing that, there are going to be women who's like, okay, well, you're not bringing nothing to the table. Why are you here? So it just becomes this endless cycle of, you know, I don't need you. I'm getting things paid for. Why are you here?
Mm-hmm. Les Eccles says the law says the child belongs to the mothers in 99% of cases. And that is true. That is very true. Oh, there's a lot of comments came through. And I'm trying to see. Okay, Amina says, I used to work as a shelter manager. It is much harder for fathers to receive assistance. There aren't even shelters in our area where a father can stay with their children if they fall victim to homelessness. I don't know if I said that right. Homelessness. The system is definitely more in favor of single females. And I agree
It
with that
is.
too.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and it always has been. And that's been very obvious. And that
Mhm.
in itself causes a rift between the mother and father, the whole
Mhm.
dynamics of that male and female relationship.
And Malik says, I brought it up because they up the ante on the game. Now man doesn't have to lay up on a woman. More separation. They assist you in not coming together. And yes.
And that's a problem. That
Yeah.
is a problem.
Mm-hmm. And Les says, what is the absence of fathers exactly? If a man isn't with the woman or live in the home but is heavily involved, is he absent? Well, let me answer. I can answer that question. And
Oh,
Tonya,
yeah.
you can give your take. You can answer that as well. I'm
Respect.
gonna answer from Tori's perspective. You says, what is the absence of fathers exactly? If a man isn't with the woman or live in the home but is heavily involved, is he absent? Okay, let me answer from my point of view. From my point of view, if the man is heavily involved and in not only monetarily, but is actively involved in that child's life, I don't feel like they're absent. But if they're not involved at all monetarily and not showing up, then I feel like they're absent. From my point of view, my son has not spoken to, has not seen his father in 5 years. They had not even having a conversation. In fact, he has had no contact with his father for 5 years. So that's what I consider absent. And that's my opinion. And I'm not down on his father, like I said before, but that is just my story. And I tell my son all the time, I'm not one of those parents that speak against his father. I always tell my son to forgive, but at the same time, I had a friend to check me like, Tori, you can tell your son to forgive his father, but at the same time, you need to let him feel what he needs to feel. So I had to fall back and I had to let them check me. I said, yeah, you're right.
Respect.
So,
Respect.
so
I like
that's
the
my take.
respect. I like the question that Les posed here because he's asking like what exactly is an absent father? And an absent father is exactly what it sounds like. An absent father. We're not talking about just in the home. Absent, like absent out of the kid's life, not
Yeah.
there. Because
Yeah.
yes, there are going to be situations. We know this. A lot of us have grown up in homes that have been broken and your father could still be in your life. We know this. Like, and I'm a child of that. If my mother had issues or something that where she couldn't discipline us in a way that was satisfactory to her and that she felt like something was getting out of hand, she would actually call my father and we got disciplined over the telephone. So I know what that is like from my own life. She could call him and we would be disciplined over the phone by our father. So that is not absent, that is present. He wasn't in our home anymore, but that didn't
Yeah.
make him an absent father. There is a difference. And
Yeah.
so I think that that's a larger conversation to have as well. We're not
Right.
talking about listen, there's some people out here who are doing, again, the best that they can, and
Mhm.
that's basically what we can do. We're not talking about the people who are doing it right. Yeah, we're not defending ourselves or defending our situations. We're talking about how can we rectify the larger number of the people who are not like some of us right now in this conversation? How can we
Mhm.
have this conversation and how can they hear what we're talking about and it make an effect on their lives and in their lives that they want to do something different? I think
Right.
that should be what we're kind of centering this around.
Right. Malik says, imagine if they were helping families as a whole. I think it means as a whole.
Mhm.
Wow. Empower dad to, if you had more programs to help a man be what he is deemed to be instead of locking them up. That's true.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about.
And Les says the law says women are custodial parents, not the man's fault.
It
That's
isn't.
true.
It's
Yeah.
not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Those things should
Tamara,
definitely be done on an individual basis.
Tamara Lady T. Allen says, right, it's free, so they take advantage of the system. And I agree.
Yeah, we got people who taking it like we see that. That's what I'm talking about. So how is it helpful if generation after generation the same family is caught in the system in the welfare system? How
Yeah.
is that helpful? You know, you got the
Mm-hmm.
grandma, you got the mama, you got the aunt, you got the sister, and you got the everybody on food stamps. Everybody getting a check.
Amina says, exactly. It's given women a false sense of independence, and I can do better without you because I get assistance.
Woo.
That's true.
And that ain't
That's
what you
true.
want. That assistance is not raising your children. That assistance
Right.
is feeding your children. It is maintaining them. And that
Mhm.
maintaining a kid, making sure that they have shelter, clothes, food, that is the very least. That is the very least to be done. That is not raising a child. That is maintenance.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Malik says, Les is right. I found this out. I had to go sign my name on my daughter's birth certificate. I couldn't make any medical decisions until I did so.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
that. And I don't think he is right, but I don't think there's
Mhm.
anything wrong with that either because I think signing that birth certificate is important. So I don't know necessarily that I see an issue with that particularly.
Tamara says, I don't think he is absent if he's heavy involved. And that's right.
Right.
If he's heavy
Right.
involved, he's not absent. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that answers Les' question when he was asking what exactly is an absent father. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Amina says, yes, it's crazy because it seems as if the government helps those they can benefit from them being dependent on them. But I witnessed single fathers struggle to get assistance from the government.
and that's horrible. I
Yeah.
don't think either should if they need that assistance. I know that that's why that assistance is there. And I encourage anybody who actually needs that assistance to go get that assistance, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. We see how important fathers are in the home. We know this. We
Mm-hmm.
know if we've had a father in the home, we know how that's been impactful in our life. If we've lost a father in our home, we know how that has impacted our life. And it seems,
Right.
in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
that we want to do better. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I
Yeah.
want better for my kids
Mm-hmm.
than what I had
Right.
in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
In family issue, in every situation, you know, it's like you want better for them. Typically,
Right.
that's what you want for your kids.
Absolutely.
Um, so that's why I feel like I want to have the conversations because when we talk about how the boys grow up without a father in the home and without that male influence, and they become involved in gang related issues, and they get involved in the streets. The likelihood of them going to prison that rises by a high percentage, but also, let's think about girls who don't have a father in their life or in their home. So they never really see a man love their mother. They don't see their mother love a man. So why is it that we expect them to know how to love or to receive
Right.
love? They
Right.
haven't seen it. It hasn't been modeled for them. If they're used to seeing their mother handle everything, their mother has everything on her shoulders, she's taking care of everything, the father is not there. She grows up thinking that I've got to take care of myself. If she sees that her father, the first man in her life, is not taking care of herself, taking care of her, that she's got to be the one to take care of herself, she learned that from dad. So why when she go out in this world is she going to know how to receive a man trying to take care of her or even know what that looks like? She's not even going to know what to look for. How do you know what to look for in a man if you come from a single mother home? Your grandmother was a single mother. Your aunt is a single mama. You don't know anything about relationships. You have not seen love modeled around you. How do you know? You don't. So we can't expect young women to just automatically be out here and be able to accept men and understand what these relationships are about. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. We have to figure it out because I know I was one of those that figured out trial and error, figuring out.
Yeah.
Can we read Malik and then Jabari's comment?
Okay.
Malik says, being absent from the home is a dysfunction. There are things that will be missed. Seeing mom and dad hug and interact are important. However, we can be there as much as we can, and that is also a blessing. But it's not 100. But we are not perfect. And that's
We're not
absolutely
perfect.
true.
We're not.
Yes.
But we had to see something that we want to model,
Right.
something that we
Right.
want to model.
And Jabari Hargrove says, looking for validation through males their age or older ones that are in the streets because there was no real father figure.
That's what it
Absolutely.
is.
Mhm.
That's exactly what it is.
And Genesis says, talk to him, Miss Tonya.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
talk to him.
We
But
I
that's so
tell her,
true.
I mean, everything that we are hearing here in the chat, I love this
Mhm.
conversation. I love that we are able to do this, you know?
Right.
And that's the whole idea of us doing talk it out. We're talking it out Tuesday. I love having conversations with you. I love having conversations with people in the chat because these are things that we need to hear. We need to hear other
Right.
people's perspective, you know?
Right. Malik said she was speaking now. Yes, she was. And as she
Listen,
was talking, I was thinking, wow, what examples did I have? That's why I had to figure it out.
right. We don't know.
Yeah, I know I
We
didn't
don't
know.
know.
I
We
didn't
get
realize
wrong.
I didn't realize what I wanted and what I needed until late 30s, early 40s. Now I got it. But
Yeah.
it took about all my life to figure it out.
Listen, it's okay. But the
Mhm.
whole idea is that we just gotta be honest about it. We
Right.
gotta we gotta be honest about this thing. I think
Mhm.
just most of the times we just get so caught up in defending what we're trying to do, right? And defending the
Yeah.
life that we live, that we won't take the opportunity to say like, "Okay, well, I'm living this, but this isn't really
Mhm.
what I want." I mean, think about it. Let's just think about
Right.
this. There's nothing wrong with being a woman who has goals, who has career goals or dreams and things of that nature. There's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that, right? But
Right.
where is there where is there any rules that says because I am a woman who can take care of myself that I don't want a man in my life who is going to take care of me and our family? Like why can't two things be true at the same time? They
It
can
can
be.
be. It can be.
I can take care of myself and I can
Mhm.
want a husband and family and want that family love at the same time.
Right.
We can do that.
Right.
That is what a family is,
Right.
you know,
Right. Right.
making that
Right.
thing work together. I mean, I love the fact that, uh, we're not so caught into the idea that there has to be quote unquote gender rules. It's not so much that, but the idea that we can come together and say, okay, this is what I'm bringing to the table. This is what he's bringing to the table. But ultimately, for me, and I'm going to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
because I am old school, I was born in 69. I have some really old school type of values, although, I mean, there's people who think I'm cool, they don't really know me, they just looking at from the outside and have their opinion. But I feel like a man is supposed to take care of a family. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's supposed to be responsible. I think he's supposed to wanna do that. Now, I'm not saying necessarily that he has to be required to do everything 100%, but I do think that that should be his core value. That is what he should want to do. I do. I think that's what a man is supposed to do. They're
Right.
supposed to protect us. I mean, that is the whole
Absolutely.
idea why we have the whole body difference,
Mm-hmm.
the strength difference.
Right.
That's what you do. And if you're a
Mm-hmm.
man, why would you not wanna do that? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you wanna take care of your family? Why wouldn't you wanna be the breadwinner? Now, do you have to make the most money because times has changed? No, you don't, but you can still have that core value. And I gotta be honest, this woman who is, living her life and she's making the money, and if she's the breadwinner, she can't treat you low. No, she can't do that. You can't feel like Miss Everything and expect your husband if you're gonna make him feel like less than a man, then why do you want a man?
Mm.
You know? So I have a lot of old school type of values, but I think those are the values that we need in our families if we want our families to be better, because what is going on right now, it's not
Right.
working. It is not working. We're seeing these kids in the streets, and they don't have to be. All they need is a different type of guidance, you know? We're seeing
Right.
girls out thinking that they can't have a man, that they can only have career goals. No, you can have both, but it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna take a man who understands what being a man is, right?
Right. Right.
My opinions.
Woo. There's a lot of good comments. Woo. Can you go back a little farther to about 12:53? Let's get on those comments. Malik said I was uniting what she was saying, what I wanted to say. What you were saying, basically, that's why I wanted you to read that last comment. And Amina
Oh,
says, yeah, he was uniting what you were saying and what he was trying to say. And Amina says, imbalance. I had to do a lot of learning from self-help books and experience. I recognize abandonment issues that I struggled with as a result as an absent father. I had an anxious, avoidant attachment style, but I'm growing from that now and definitely working to provide a more whole family for my children.
absolutely.
And Malik says, but real spill, I am 52 and still long for my father's love and approval. And I don't even know if he's alive. Now that, when I saw
Wow,
that comment, Malik,
thank
that
you.
like broke me just now, bruh.
Now see,
I saw that
that is the
comment.
type of Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying when I saw that, I was about to cry.
Well, listen, that and this is a type of conversation that we should be having for this comment right here. He says, I'm 52. And brother, I want to thank you for your transparency,
Yeah.
because I know men in their 60s. We're talking about 50s, 60s, 70s. I'm going to tell you about a man that I know in his 90s talking about his father. I know that, and I've had the conversation. That never changes. And I think if
Mhm.
men hear that and know that well into adulthood, that a child will still long for their father. That doesn't
Mm.
go away. And what I
Mm.
don't understand, and it's really, I listen, this bugs me so much, and I don't understand this. Some of the same absent fathers had absent fathers live through hurt from having an absent father and turn right back around and hurt their kid. Help me understand that. How does that make
Ooh,
sense?
it doesn't. And I'm glad you said that because that's a conversation me and my son had years ago, probably when he was 10. He's 17 now, but we had that conversation when he was 10. And he said that when he grows up and have children, he's going to make sure he's there for his children.
Woo! See? And you know, there are gonna be those who learn what not to do,
Mhm.
and I very much value that because we're gonna have some messed up people in our lives, and you can have messed up parents in your lives, but you can learn how not to be that way so that you could be a good parent. Let me tell you,
Mm.
that is a truth, and that is what everyone should wanna do. Guys, listen, Tori,
Mm.
we've been talking over an hour.
And we still miss a few comments.
We've been talking over an hour. How'd that happen?
This is good. Malik comment just really ooh, that did it for me.
Malik, yeah, he did. He put it out there.
Genesis says, Miss Tanya, that's too much like right now. Teach them the way, sister.
Listen, we having a
Absolutely.
this is a whole conversation. It's you guys who are helping facilitate this.
Yes. And Malik says, and it makes us feel good. Mm. Genesis says, normalize men taking care. Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm. Amina says, you said a mouthful, few words, men taking care. Mm.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm. I agree. I agree.
Yep. And Malik says, in my case, it was poverty and lack of leadership. My mother was a hustler, so I chose the street.
And
Mm.
see,
Mm.
listen here, Malik. You know, we
Mm.
need to have Malik. One day we just need to have
Listen,
Malik right
let
up
me
on
tell
this
you something.
show with
I
us.
reached out to Malik. Malik, like, you want to have me on? I say, brother, you got a lot of value to
You
offer.
understand what I'm saying? Listen to what he said. Read that. Let me read that again. He said, in my case,
Mm.
it was poverty and lack of leadership. My mother
Mm.
was a hustler, so I chose the streets.
Mm.
See, you got a boy in that house who's watching his mother do what she got to do. She hustling. She got to get it,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
he's like, listen, I'm not trying to live like this. So he got
Right.
to get out there and figure out how to get it on his own. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? And that happens. That happens in many, many cases, you know?
Yes. Yes.
I guess we gotta keep going, Tori. Go ahead and read these these comments.
Come on. Amina says they don't know how to give what they was deprived of. They may want to do better, but their desires aren't strong enough for them to seek out solid resources to do differently than what was done to them. Ooh, that's good.
Oh, she's talking about the fatherless fathers who become father fatherless and missing in the home of their kids.
I'm looking at it as she was saying that the fatherless kids that choose to be great fathers to their children.
Mm,
That's how I
mm.
took it. I may have misinterpreted. Amina, if I'm saying it wrong, just clarify for
Well,
us,
she said,
please.
I'm listening here. She said they don't know how to give what they were
Was
deprived
deprived
of,
of.
which
They
means
may
they were
want to
deprived of
do better.
fatherhood. So they
Yeah,
want to
so
do
they may,
better.
but their desires aren't strong enough for them to seek out solid resources to do differently than what was done to them. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Okay.
After reading it again, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know that just messes me up every time. I mean, I know
Mm.
grown men. I've seen grown man tears,
Mhm. Yeah.
and that's
Mhm.
not to make light of it. Grown man tears because they were looking and still want the validation from a father well into manhood, right?
Mhm. Right.
But they still
Right.
were missing in their kids' lives. So I can't understand it. You can't make me understand how you could live in that pain
Mhm.
and give that pain to your kid. I don't. There's no way to make me understand that.
Oh, this is good. Genesis says, Malik, I feel you. I don't long anymore, but I do want my children to know him. Total transparency. I have hurt people because I wanted what they had as consistently, which was a father. Ooh, I was raised with him. To abandon me is forever life changing.
It is.
Mm.
We are talking about
Ooh.
grown. We are of an age. We're not talking about,
Mm.
we are not millennials in this conversation right now. Not many of us. There's a few.
Yeah.
That
Mm.
does not go away.
It
That
does.
doesn't change. So that's why it's important for fathers to know that they matter. We've got to let fathers know that they matter. You don't have any money? Okay. You still matter. You got
Mhm.
a phone? Send a text.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Do it over the phone. Like I said, I am a kid who was disciplined by a phone. I was raised over the phone by a father. I had a by phone father.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong. I've had many times of him in my life back and forth, but I'm just saying that I know that it can be done over the phone because I've had those unique experiences. You dig what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And Genesis says, Malik, me too, the streets.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Girls aren't, girls are exposed to this. They're not like, not gonna fall in this trap. Yes, girls too. It happens.
Mhm.
The
Right.
street isn't there just for the boys. And the boys wouldn't be in the street if girls weren't out there.
Right. Malik also says, when I started, people patted me on my back.
Come on.
Wow. This is good. Mm.
Fathers
Mm.
matter.
Whew. Yeah, this is a great conversation. Great conversation.
Do it again.
Malik had another comment, and Amina put Malik comment that he just always said sometimes they have the desire, but there is hidden vice in most cases. Drugs being one, mental illness, and it really gets deep.
Woo. You know
Mm.
what?
Ooh. Yeah.
Ooh.
That
See,
word vice. Woo.
you understand me?
Yes.
And listen,
Ooh,
that's a
Jesus.
part of the issue too, brother.
Mm.
I'm glad you brought that up because
Yeah.
I'm straight here voicing my opinion, but no conversation can be
Mm.
one-sided. So I'm
Right.
telling you guys, like, I don't understand how a man could not have a father and then not be a father to his kid. But
Yeah.
there's things that we have to factor into that. Yeah, he's hurt. Yeah,
Mhm.
but he's got some vices.
Yeah.
There might be drugs on his life because those situations oftentimes lead to some type of dependency.
Right.
It could be drugs, it could be alcohol. And
Mm.
then we hadn't even considered the mental illness
Right.
that could be going on. So there's a
Right.
whole lot of different things that factor into it.
Mhm.
There is. But the
Yeah.
bottom line is we've just got to be able to say it loud, be able to say it with your chest, be able to say it bold. Fathers matter.
Yes. Amina says father's time is just as valuable, if not more valuable than father's dime. Absolutely.
Come on, poet.
Absolutely.
I hear what you're
Ooh.
saying. She said, "A father's time is just as valuable, if not more valuable, than a father's dime." That's right.
Mhm.
That's right,
Yeah.
because you can't just give money to the kid and not be there.
Right.
That's that is an absent father. When
Mhm.
Les asked the question earlier, what is an absent father? Well, that
Mhm.
falls into the category of an absent father. You're
Mhm.
not there, but you feel like, okay, well, I make sure that they eat, I make sure that they got somewhere to live. Well, the government does that. The government ain't a daddy.
Right.
So you gotta do more. You can't
Mhm.
just think because they eating food and got some clothes and, shelter, that's it for fatherhood. No.
Right. Amina says, "Woo, Malik, you teaching."
Yes,
Yes,
he is.
he is.
And that's why we need to be having conversations with our brothers. We cannot
Yeah.
do this by ourselves. We couldn't have the babies by ourselves.
Nope.
Not one of us got pregnant without a man or without a
Right.
sperm, because I know other things can happen, but the sperm came from the man, so we won't get into all of that. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
None of us.
Absolutely. You're
Guess
right.
what? That's not gonna change.
It's
AI
not.
is not
It's
gonna make
not.
no babies.
It ain't. Malik says, and then that goes back to the government that brought the vices into our communities. That being said, accountability is what changed me. I held myself accountable for my actions and how my children saw me.
There it
That's
is.
what's up. That's
There it
what's up.
is.
Mic drop.
Come on. He said, I held myself accountable. And
Yeah.
until you decide to hold yourself accountable,
Mm,
you can't change. You
yeah.
can't be different
Right.
because you're gonna
Absolutely.
fall into the excuse. Well, this is what I know.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I had to do.
Right.
See that little thing, I did the best that I can. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you know how much I don't like that? Because
Yeah.
doing the best that I can also that's not necessarily a good thing. We gotta
Right.
stop falling on that. We
Mm-hmm.
gotta stop even wanting to say that. If you
Yeah.
know that you're doing the best that you can, have that in your mind, but have in your mind that you wanna do better. Have in your
Right.
mind that I wanna do something different.
Right.
I wanna be better.
Absolutely.
I want my kid to be better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Genesis says, have had a therapist for 18 years dealing with abandonment, attachment, and being a widow and mother. I resorted back to anger at my father. I had to learn to stop looking for the father I had in the home in the men I was meeting. Ooh,
Woo.
that's ooh. Mm, mm, mm.
See
Whew.
see why fathers matter?
Yes.
You had that thing don't leave you?
Ooh.
18 years,
Yes, that's good.
right?
Ooh. Lord, that's
It
that's
doesn't
that's ooh.
change, and
Yeah.
even when we have the therapy,
Mm,
even when we've decided that we're gonna deal with the issues, right?
right. You're
And we're
right.
going to, get into a healing situation, we want something different for ourselves. Every day isn't
Mhm.
gonna be one of those good days.
Mhm.
Some of those days you're gonna fall back into that old attitude because it's just gonna come up and show up.
Mhm.
It's just important
Right.
for us to be able to have the tools that we need so that we know like, "Hey, okay, my mind slipped a little bit right here. You know, let me relax a little bit. Let me stop for a minute. Let me meditate for a minute. Let me think about what triggered me here," you know?
Mhm.
But this thing
Right.
doesn't go away.
Yeah. Malik says, "Is that a male?" A male
Yeah,
said it best. "I know you're down, but when you gonna get up?"
come on. Come on. I know you're
Right.
down, but when you gonna get up? Wow.
Mm. That's
Exactly.
good.
So the bottom
Mm.
line is what? We gonna bring this thing on home. We gonna wrap this conversation up. We gonna
Yeah.
wrap it up, right?
Yes. Thank you all for stopping in and ooh, y'all added so much value to the conversation. I
Yeah,
love it.
this was a good one. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Everybody. I loved it. I'm here
Yeah.
for this. This is the whole reason why we do this, right?
Yes, this was really good. And I love
Mhm.
the transparency. Oh, I love it. This was
Yeah.
good. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna say tell you guys thank you for tuning in. We love you, and you know we're gonna breathe it on out. Make sure you tune in the rest of the week with Miss Tanya at noonday podcast every day of the week. And I think tomorrow is Wellness Wednesday, so make sure you tune in. And I'll be back with you guys on next Tuesday. I'm out. Love you guys.
All
Peace.
right. All right. All right.
And Malik says,
Always
"Bless
good.
up, Queen Sisters." Next time. Thank you, Malik.
All right, lady. Always good talking to you. You know that already. You know it. I tell you what, guys, this has been a really great conversation. I want you to have this conversation outside of here. You know, if you can lead somebody to the podcast, lead somebody to this conversation because sometimes people don't necessarily want to hear certain things from us. But if they're within their own privacy, if there's a video that they can click on, they might take a listen. And even if it's for a few minutes, if it's just one thing that can make a difference, that can make them do something different, I think it's important to share. So you guys make sure you do that. Make sure you subscribe to this content. Make sure you let people know that we are having conversations and that you feel these conversations are good. So follow here. Make sure that you go on YouTube. Make sure that you follow Miss Tonya TV. And I want to continue to bring you guys this type of content. I want us to continue to have these type of conversations. And it matters. You liking and you subscribing matters because it will say that, yeah, these conversations are important. People do want to hear this. So that's your job. I've done mine here. All right. Last thing I want to say, and I just want to kind of round the conversation out. And I can just do that with 2 words. 2 words. Fatherhood matters. Yes, indeed. So let's do what we always do. We come in here and we take a little bit of time for ourselves and we do a little breathing exercise. And on the way out, we're going to do the same thing. All right. So let's breathe it out. Let's do some breath work. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold a few seconds. Exhale. And hold that a few seconds. Inhale one more time. Hold a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. And don't you feel great? I feel great. I appreciate you guys. And if nobody gave you a smile today, if nobody smiled today, you just close your eyes and give yourself a big smile and see how that feels for you. All right? Y'all be great out here. That's what we do. One love, y'all.